She found out too late. Her husband's killer was in her home. The man who came to help. Rain fell softly over Oak Ridge Heights, a quiet black middle-class neighborhood just outside Atlanta. The kind of place where people waved at each other, where doors were often left unlocked during the day, and where danger was something that happened on the news, never at home. Monica Harris believed that. She stood in her kitchen that evening, stirring a pot of soup, humming a gospel tune under her breath. At 34, Monica carried herself with calm grace. She was a school counselor, patient, observant, always trying to fix broken things. Her home reflected that: warm lighting, family photos on the wall, soft jazz playing low. Her husband, Daniel Harris, should have been home an hour ago. She glanced at the clock again. 6:47 p.m. Monica wiped her hands on a towel and reached for her phone. No missed calls. No messages. "That's strange," she murmured. Daniel was predictable. A project manager downtown. Always called if he'd be late. Always. The doorbell rang suddenly. Monica jumped. She wasn't expecting anyone. She walked to the door slowly and looked through the peephole. A tall black man stood on the porch, mid-30s, neatly dressed but slightly wet from the rain. His expression was calm, almost polite. She opened the door halfway. "Yes." The man smiled gently. "Good evening, ma'am. Sorry to bother you so late. My name is Evan Brooks. I'm a friend of Daniel's." Monica frowned slightly. "A friend?" "Yes," Evan said smoothly. "From work. We were supposed to meet, but he asked me to swing by and drop something off. Said you'd know." Monica hesitated. Daniel had never mentioned an Evan. Still, the man's tone was respectful. His posture relaxed. And he knew Daniel's name. "What did he want you to drop off?" she asked. Evan reached into his jacket and pulled out a slim folder. Project documents. Confidential. He didn't want to risk leaving them in the car overnight. Monica exhaled. "That sounds like Daniel," she said softly, opening the door wider. "Please, come in before you catch a cold." Evan stepped inside. The door closed behind him. And with that simple click, danger crossed the threshold of Monica Harris's home. They sat in the living room. Monica offered him tea. Evan declined politely. "He works too hard," Evan said casually, glancing around the room. "Daniel. Always pushing himself." Monica smiled. "Tell me about it. I've been telling him to slow down for years." Evan nodded. Some men don't know when to stop. There was something in his tone, something Monica didn't notice. Her phone buzzed suddenly on the coffee table. She picked it up. Unknown number. Her heart skipped. She answered. "Hello." Silence. Then a voice, low, official. "Mrs. Harris? This is Detective Cole from the Atlanta Police Department. Are you at home?" Monica's chest tightened. "Yes, why?" There was a pause. "I'm very sorry to inform you that your husband, Daniel Harris, was involved in an incident this evening." Her knees weakened. "What kind of incident?" Another pause, longer this time. "He was attacked in the parking garage of his office building." Monica's breath left her body in a sharp gasp. "Is he?" "He didn't survive, Mrs. Harris." The room tilted. Her phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor. "No, no, no, no," she whispered, shaking her head. Strong arms caught her before she collapsed. "Evan." "It's okay," he said softly, guiding her to the couch. "I've got you." She sobbed into his chest, unaware that the man holding her was not a comfort, but a secret, a terrible, waiting truth. The detective's voice still echoed faintly from the phone on the floor. "We believe the attack was targeted." Monica clung tighter to Evan, desperate for something solid. She had no idea that the man rubbing her back gently, the man whispering, "You're safe now," the man she had just welcomed into her home, was the same man who had followed Daniel into that parking garage and left him there. Red and blue lights washed over the quiet street like unwanted paint. Monica sat on the edge of her couch, wrapped in a gray blanket she didn't remember picking up. Her hands trembled as she held a paper cup of water. It tasted like nothing. Everything tasted like nothing now. The front door stood open. Two uniformed officers moved in and out of the house while Detective Aaron Cole stood near the fireplace, notebook in hand. Professional. Too calm for a moment that had shattered Monica's world. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Harris," Detective Cole said again, his voice gentle but firm. "I know this is overwhelming. I just need to ask a few questions." Monica nodded slowly, eyes unfocused. "I'll try." Across the room, Evan Brooks remained close, but not intrusive. He stood a few steps away, hands loosely clasped, head bowed in what looked like quiet respect. Detective Cole glanced at him. "And you are?" Evan straightened slightly. "Evan Brooks. I work with Daniel. I came by to drop off some documents." Monica turned her head toward Evan, grateful. "He was with me when you called." Cole studied Evan for a moment longer than necessary, then nodded and returned his attention to Monica. "When was the last time you spoke to your husband today?" Monica swallowed. "Around noon. He said he'd be home by 6. Any unusual behavior? Stress? Arguments? Anyone he mentioned having problems with?" She shook her head. "No. Daniel. Tired, but happy. We were planning a trip. He just got a promotion." Evan's jaw tightened, just slightly. Detective Cole scribbled something down. "Do you know why someone would want to hurt him?" Monica looked up, eyes filling again. "No. My husband wasn't that kind of man." Silence settled in the room. One of the officers returned. "Detective, the neighbors say they didn't hear anything unusual tonight." Cole nodded. "Thank you." He turned back to Monica. The attack happened around 5:50 p.m. in the underground parking garage beneath his office. No witnesses so far. Monica's breath caught. "So, whoever did this just walked away?" "For now," Cole said carefully. "But we'll find them." Evan stepped forward slightly. "Detective, if I may." Cole looked at him. "Go ahead." "Daniel mentioned recently that there were some tensions at work," Evan said smoothly. "Contract disputes. People angry about the promotion." Monica frowned faintly. "Daniel never told me that." Evan gave a small, apologetic shrug. "He didn't like worrying you." Detective Cole's pen paused. "That's helpful," Cole said. "Thank you." Monica stared at Evan, confusion mixing with grief. Why hadn't Daniel told her? Later, after the police finally left and the house grew unbearably quiet, Monica stood alone in the kitchen, staring at the sink. The ticking clock sounded too loud. Every sound did. Evan lingered near the doorway. "You shouldn't be alone tonight," he said gently. "Not like this." Monica nodded weakly. "My sister lives across town. She's on her way." "That's good," Evan replied. "Still, until she arrives, I'll stay." She didn't argue. She didn't have the strength. They sat in silence again, the kind that presses on your chest. Monica's eyes drifted to the folder Evan had brought. "The documents," she said suddenly. "You said Daniel asked you to drop them off." "Yes." She picked them up slowly and opened the folder. Blank pages. Her brows knitted together. "These are empty." Evan didn't miss a beat. He must have already removed them. He was paranoid about security. Monica nodded, but something uncomfortable stirred in her stomach. A few minutes later, her phone rang. Her sister, Tanya. "I'm outside," Tanya said, voice shaking. Monica rushed to the door and fell into her sister's arms the moment she stepped inside. They cried together, holding on like the world might fall apart if they let go. When Monica finally looked up, Evan was already moving toward the door. "I'll leave you with your family," he said softly. If you need anything, anything at all, call me. He handed Monica his number. Their fingers brushed. His hand was cold. Thank you, Monica whispered. Evan offered one last sympathetic look, then stepped into the night. As his car pulled away, Tanya watched from the window. Who was that? She asked quietly. A friend of Daniel's, Monica replied. Tanya's eyes narrowed slightly. I don't remember Daniel mentioning him. Monica sighed. Neither do I. They didn't see Evan stop 2 houses down. They didn't see him sit in his car, hands gripping the steering wheel, breathing slow and controlled. Or the faint smile that crossed his face as he looked back at the house. The house where the woman who loved Daniel lived. The woman who trusted him. The woman who had no idea she had just thanked her husband's killer. The church was full, yet Monica felt alone. Soft organ music filled New Hope Baptist, wrapping around rows of polished wooden pews. Family, co-workers, neighbors, everyone had come to mourn Daniel Harris, the man who smiled easily, worked too hard, and never made enemies. Or so Monica believed. She sat in the front row dressed in black, hands folded tightly in her lap. Her eyes burned, but no tears came. Grief had settled into her bones, heavy and numb. Tanya sat beside her, one arm protectively around Monica's shoulders. Across the aisle, Evan Brooks sat quietly, head bowed, hands clasped. He had arrived early, helped arrange flowers, and spoken to the pastor with familiarity that surprised Monica. He really stepped up, Tanya whispered. Monica nodded. He said Daniel once helped him through a rough time. That should have comforted her. Instead, it unsettled her. After the service, people lined up to offer condolences. Monica repeated the same soft responses over and over, barely hearing her own voice. I'm so sorry. He was a good man. You're in our prayers. When Evan approached, Monica looked up. I wish I had done more, Evan said quietly. I should have insisted he leave work earlier that day. Monica studied his face. He looked genuinely pained. His eyes even glistened. It wasn't your fault, she replied automatically. Evan nodded, but didn't look convinced. Later, outside near the cars, Monica overheard 2 of Daniel's co-workers talking. The garage cameras malfunctioned that day, one said. Convenient, the other replied. Especially with all that mess around the contract. Monica froze. That night, she couldn't sleep. She sat at Daniel's desk in the home office, surrounded by memories. His mug. His planner. His laptop, still unopened since the police returned it. On impulse, she powered it on. A password prompt appeared. She typed the only one she knew. Access denied. Her chest tightened. Daniel never locked her out. She tried again. Denied. Frustrated, she reached for his notebook, flipping through pages filled with meetings, budgets, and neat handwriting. Then she saw it. A name written twice in the margin of a page. E. Brooks. Her pulse quickened. She flipped back through more pages. The same initials appeared again. Beside them, a note. Watch him. Monica's breath caught. The next morning, Detective Cole returned for a follow-up. Monica hesitated before speaking. Detective, my husband never mentioned having conflicts at work, but someone told you he did. Cole's eyes sharpened slightly. Yes, Mr. Brooks mentioned it. Monica swallowed. Daniel never talked about him. Yet Evan knew details about his job, about the garage, the contracts, things that weren't public. Cole closed his notebook slowly. That's important, he said. Why didn't you mention this earlier? I didn't notice it until now, Monica replied, voice shaking. I trusted him. Cole nodded. Trust is how people hide in plain sight. As he stood to leave, he paused. Mrs. Harris, did Mr. Brooks ever mention where he was when your husband was attacked? Monica frowned. He said he was finishing up work and was on his way to meet Daniel. Cole's jaw tightened slightly. We confirmed he clocked out 2 hours earlier. The room went cold. That evening, Evan called. "Just checking on you," he said warmly. "How are you holding up?" Monica forced her voice steady. "Trying. I can come by," Evan offered. "You shouldn't be alone." She looked at Daniel's notebook on the table. "No," she said carefully. "My sister's here." A brief pause. "I understand," Evan replied. "Still, call me any time." After the call ended, Monica stared at her phone. For the first time since Daniel died, fear replaced grief. Because grief meant loss. Fear meant danger. And Evan Brooks was still close. Too close. Monica didn't invite Evan back. That was the part that bothered her most. The story isn't over. In the next episode, the truth will finally be revealed. And the real person behind Monica's husband's death will be exposed. Sit back, relax, and get ready for a shocking continuation. Subscribe to Mirawealth Stories for more powerful stories. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss the next episode.